Good afternoon. It's Saturday, July 10th. It's a cool, overcast afternoon here in the Reading Nook. I, of course, have a nice hot cup of tea and a bundle of parcels to unbox. So let's grab. Let's have a look. Let's grab the next one. See if there's anything at all. Okay. I know that this is a print on demand book, but I don't know what it is. Let's find out. I know it's red from the spine. Okay. Kuf. I can't tell anything more about that except it is not recommended for readers under 18 years of age. So this carries a mature readers only warning. I can see that there is a character sheet on the back. It's a little bit tight around the edges there, but yeah, okay. So let's find out what's inside. We see. Warning, Kuf handles serious and mature issues in offensive, harmful and irresponsible ways. The game can therefore not be recommended to anyone at all. Return the book from where you found it and go about your business. Remember to wash your hands. Okay, so Kuf is based on Knave version 1.0 by Ben Milton. Ben Milton you will know from his own Questing Beast series of YouTube videos, which reviews and interviews, and which are infinitely more professional than my videos. That's a fact, not jealousy, just simple fact. This is designed by Wilhelm Person, and essentially, so welcome forward to the English edition. Welcome to Kuf. What is a Kuf? A Kuf is a weirdo, an oddball, or eccentric. The word is derived from the city of Kufa in present-day Iraq. In English, there's the word Kufic, meaning a 7th century calligraphic Arabic script. To the Swedish eyes, the writing looked odd or strange, and in the 1880s, students in Uppsala started using it for people who shared these properties as well. Kuf borrows a lot from Nape. I think that's going to be Knave. A lot from Nape with a P, which in turn is a translation and adaptation of Ben Milton's OSR game Knave. Starting with the letter Cave and describing an outsider, I found it a good name for a horror RPG about cultists and fumbling magicians. It's set where you live. There's something about the shift from familiar environment to the horrors that make the stories resound with a special way for me. I live in Sweden, or when I play the game, it is set here. If you're a fan of Sweden as an exotic setting, after enjoying some of the many movies, books and games that have come out of the Nordic countries in the last couple of years, go ahead and keep everything as written. But if you want to play as intended, spend a few moments before your first session to retweak it a bit. The round and table of names is pretty much a list of the most commonly used names in my part of the country. The price of the equipment, as someone derived from the afternoon research, they're in Swedish krona. Divide by 10 to get an approximate US dollars or euros. And then adjust for the pound, because obviously Brexit, we have adjusted for the pound. Let's have a look. Prelude to the End of Time. In Kuf, we follow people who sense that not all is what it seems. They experience things that don't fit into the rationales they've been taught of the workings of our world, even if they don't yet have the answers to their questions. And if you can hear the car alarm, I'm not entirely sure that's a car alarm or a warning against me looking at Kuf. Even if they don't have the answers to their questions, they know that rational teachers from schools and authorities don't give all the answers. That the explanations of the world's mysteries preached in churches aren't complete. But this understanding is sown a seed that puts them in danger, for their search for truth will disturb old orders, and they will come to compete with the forces from both sides of the barrier. The main character stories have grown up and lived in our reality. They have seen the laws of nature as unyielding truths where time and space are constant. The only way to other worlds is to travel deep into space, but the world is infinitely more multifaceted and complex than they perceive or imagine. They live sheltered behind a barrier raised by a since long gone god, a prison for their bodies, souls, and spirits. So yeah, it's a horror role-playing game, and flirting with the uncomfortable is part of the game. Already where the game starts, the main characters bear the scars of encounters with the supernatural and abuse. The road they walk will only carry them deeper and deeper into darkness. This does not give a free pass time each other. Play carefully, keep an eye open to the well-being of your fellow players. Suggest taking a break if it all seems as needed, and so on. So there's lots of advice in there as basically how to play. So you play someone who's had a supernatural or frightening experience that has made them question the way they view the world. The character is driven to search for the truth. Essentially, it's played in 3 phases. Exploration phase, the characters explore the world. The confrontation, they face the great dangers, and recovery, they rest and prepare for the next adventure as their wounds heal, whether that's physical wounds or mental wounds or psychic wounds. So very simply laid out, very clean, it's an old school Renaissance style game, but that kind of stripped down play that goes in basically strips it a bit back further from sort of like the D&D inspiration for simpler play. It's going to be character focused, character facing, player facing, where the players make all the roles rather than the GM, and it's saving throws against your attributes. Essentially, essentially, basic method of rolling saving throws is to roll to 1 to 20 and add the stat bonus that fits the situation best. You have advantage, disadvantage. Essentially, you're rolling 2d20, ignoring the lower result or higher result as necessary. And you have strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma as you would in a Dungeons and Dragons or OSR style game. You have basically suggested backgrounds, of hit points and mind points, experience points, Maelstrom, which basically represents what's pulling them towards their doom. So you have things like heritage, family secret, test subject, insanity, or witness. So there we go. Got a further explanation down there. And again, quick list of names. Again, Swedish. That's fine. Don't mind playing in Sweden. I mean, obviously, if you've played something like Tales from the Loop or Things from the Flood, you'll have likely played a game set in Sweden. Essentially, the core mechanic is if a character attempts an action of an uncertain outcome and failure could have negative consequences, they roll a saving throw. Saves are rolled as a d20 plus the bonus from the most suitable stat. If the sum is over 15, the character succeeded. Otherwise, action fails. Essentially, we are dealing with very quick, very simple. Combat, for example, runs to 2.5 pages, so essentially combat, damage, critical hits, and morale in basically 2.5 pages. And it's very reminiscent of, I would suggest, White Hack in its look. Yep. And then we get into sort of like the really kind of like the meat of the game, essentially insights into mysteries. Whether that's occult books or encounters, essentially characters have insight as a stat will appear, and each time, or essentially they increase their level, it basically represents sort of like a level mechanic from this. And so on. Every time a character gains a level, at least one stat bonus, is raised. At least once that bonus is raised to 7, something fundamental happens to what the character is. We're on the table below. Each time a character gains a power, 1 point of constitution is lost permanently. Points lost this way cannot be recovered. So we've got a table of D20 options with things like dark vision or true sight, weightless. That's kind of weird. Then we go on to the guide for the referee. We're making rulings and handling saves and suggestions as to what the roles, the themes, the adventures and campaigns there. Let's say, normally I would show you what's in this book, but against there are no illustrations, essentially, apart from the Illuminati and the pyramid sign there, and essentially a description, a breakdown of what the phases, like the exploration phase, and the confrontation phase, and then the recovery phase. Let's have a look. The exploration phase is a couple of pages, confrontation phase 3 pages, recovery phase is essentially 3.5 pages, and so on. So essentially that's discussing the structure of the game before we get into the barrier and beyond, sort of really kind of like the deeper background. And discussing some things like the nightmare faced, the prisoners that might be encountered, ritual magic, the effects of ritual, for example, and the given encounter, for example, ritual encounter with Isis, and we basically creatures from nightmare, whether that's cultists, magicians, intruders, soulless, veiled lady, artifacts. And again, it's very plainly presented. We go on to books, translating books, and the adventure continues, and we have a postscript to there, and essentially we've still got that bit left of the book itself, and we have an example of play. And that's quite lengthy because that's running 2 pages, 4 pages. Yeah, that's just. This is just on prep. It's basically from 75 through up to 82. That's 7 pages. And more, and you've got a complete breakdown because essentially you've got a guide to a ritual. Then you go into the exploration phase, confrontation phase. I mean, basically, you've got a complete playthrough here. The recovery phase, that's almost unheard of. In fact, I'm really kind of surprised to see that. Because let's just flip back to the beginning. So page 75 to 107. So 32 pages is devoted to an example of play of one scenario. That's almost unheard of. I don't think I've seen a roleplay game really do that in any kind of depth like that. That's quite mysterious. So I probably would have liked to have seen basically some scenario ideas, or perhaps in there a bit more obvious, or a ready-to-play scenario. I think you could take the scenario example of play and extract a scenario from it. But this sort of thing is basically if you run it sort of like a magical horror mystery conspiracy sort of thing, you can easily find examples from films and books and TV and that sort of thing, and other games as well for it. So that's Koof, designed by Wilhelm Persson, from Wilhelm Games. It is available on the Drive-Thru RPG, I believe. Let's have a look. Just generally. Oh no, this is from Lulu. So that's a Lulu book. So if you're interested in that, go check it out on Lulu. I will have a review of this in due course. If you're getting it from Lulu, probably, I mean, like you're always going to do, check to see whether there's a discount. There's token which you can use and apply. In the meantime, thank you for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you have enjoyed this video, please click the like button down below. If you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post them, and I do take the time to read them. And lastly, of course, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, please click the subscribe button down below, and you'll get to see me here with another package, another book, nice hot cup of tea, and of course 10 minutes or so of your time as I talk about a game that I've probably never seen before, and give you my first impressions of it. Thanks again for watching, and I will be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.